All right, welcome back. Today we're going to work on lesson 16.6, and you are going to classify quadrilaterals by their properties. Let's refresh our memories. A quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides, 4 angles, and 4 vertices. There are different types of quadrilateral. So we have the parallelogram. The parallelogram is a quadrilateral that has 4 sides. It has the opposite sides are parallel. So the opposite sides from each other are parallel, and the opposite sides are also congruent. Then under the parallelogram, we have a rectangle. And a rectangle is a parallelogram, so that means that opposite sides are congruent and parallel, 4 right angles, and 2 pairs of perpendicular sides. And then we have the rhombus, which is a parallelogram, which we know that its opposite sides are parallel and congruent. But here, it all 4 congruent sides. That means that all sides are congruent. So a parallelogram says that the opposite sides have to be congruent. But a rhombus says that all the sides have to be congruent. This is the same with this, and this, and this. So obviously this shape itself is not. So this would be, that would be a rhombus, because this side is the same as this side, is the same as this side, is the same as this side. And it's a parallelogram. This is parallel with this side, this is parallel with this side. And then a square. In order for a shape to be considered a square, it has to be a rhombus and a rectangle. Both. So we're gonna put a little plus sign together. And then of course, let's not forget the last one, the trapezoid. It's a quadrilateral, but the difference between the trapezoid, notice that it's here by itself. It's because a trapezoid only has one pair of parallel sides, only one, where all of these have 4, because these are all parallelograms. See how it comes under here? So if we go up, we're going to say a square is a rhombus and a rectangle, and a parallelogram and a quadrilateral. And a trapezoid is just a quadrilateral. So if you see it going up, if you think about this going up, you're going to remember how all these shapes work. All right, so today you're going to classify these shapes using as many as you can. So you can use now all of these. So let's see. Classify the quadrilateral in as many ways as possible. Right, quadrilateral, parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus, square, or trapezoid. So let's look at the first one. Is this a quadrilateral? Yes. Why? Because it has 4 sides. So I'm going to put that it's a quadrilateral. I'll shorten it. Is this, let's zoom in a little bit. Is this, okay, is this a parallelogram? Are opposite sides parallel? This is straight and this is straight. They don't touch. This and this, yes. Are opposite sides equal? The 2 ticks and 2 ticks, that means these 2 are equal. This is equal with that side, 1 tick and 1 tick. So yes, this is a parallelogram. All right. Is it a rectangle? Well, let's see. A rectangle says it has to be a parallelogram. We already have that down. 4 right angles, the right squares, these are all right angles, and 2 sets of perpendicular sides, so this is also a rectangle. So this shape is considered a quadrilateral, a parallelogram, or rectangle. Let's keep going. Is it a rhombus? A rhombus is a parallelogram, but a rhombus, the difference between a rectangle and a rhombus is that this one has to have all equal sides. The rectangle only has to have the top and the bottom equal, the side and the side equal. So would this be considered a rhombus? No, because a rhombus has to have all equal sides, and these are not all equal sides. Only the top and bottom are equal, and these 2. So this is not a rhombus. Let's see, is this a square? Well, a square says it has to be a rhombus and a rectangle. Well, it is a rectangle, but it's not a rhombus. So this cannot be a square. So it is just quadrilateral, parallelogram, rectangle. And is it a trapezoid? Well, we know that if it's a parallelogram, it cannot be a trapezoid. Same as if it's a rectangle, it cannot be a rhombus. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see, is this a quadrilateral? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it has 4 sides. That's all it needs to be a quadrilateral. Is it a parallelogram? So this side and this side, are they parallel? If I was to grab my 2 pencils and line them up, and then line my line here with that one, you can see that they cross, they touch. That's not parallel. Are these lines parallel? Let's see. Grab my pencil here, line it up. Grab my pencil here, and you can see that they are also not parallel. They have no ticks to show, so it is not a quadrilateral. Is it a parallelogram? I'm sorry, it is a quadrilateral. It is not a parallelogram. It has no parallel sides. It's not a trapezoid, no parallel sides. And I'm gonna stop right there because if it's not a parallelogram, it cannot be a rectangle, it cannot be a rhombus, it cannot be a square. So if it's not a parallelogram, it's a trapezoid. If it's neither, then it's just a quadrilateral. And we stop right there. It is just a quadrilateral. All right, this is number 3. Let's see, is it a quadrilateral? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it's 4 sides, so it is a quadrilateral. Is it a parallelogram? Well, this side and this side, let's see, the pencils, they're going straight, they don't touch. So that's parallel, that's one side. And then this one is slanted. So this one only has one set of parallel sides. All right, so it is not a parallelogram, but it is a trapezoid, because a trapezoid has to have exactly one pair. So trapezoid is one pair, parallelogram is 2. So this is a trapezoid. Now, it is nothing else, because if you see here, there's nothing else after the trapezoid. So a trapezoid, it's only a quadrilateral with one side, that's it. Because remember, if it was a parallelogram, it could be a rectangle, it could be a rhombus, it could be a square. Depends on other characteristics. So this, for number 3, it is just a quadrilateral and a trapezoid. All right, let's check here. Is it 4 sides? Yes, so it is a quadrilateral. Don't forget in your Google Classroom to include quadrilateral. You gotta click it. Let's see, so this side and this side are equal, but are they parallel? And yes, they're both slanted, which means they're both going in one direction. They're not gonna touch. And then let's see, this one and this one. Oops. It's going this way. This is going this way. These are also parallel. So we do have 2 sets of parallel sides. So it is also a parallelogram. Also, the opposite sides are equal. Top and bottom are equal, side and side are equal, and they're parallel. All right, so let's see, is it a rectangle? Let's see what a rectangle says. It's a parallelogram, yes. Does it have 4 right angles? No, this one seems to be obtuse, so no. All right, can it be a rhombus? Well, it is a parallelogram. Does it have all equal sides? Is this equal side? Is this equal side? They're not all equal. Only top and bottom are equal and side to side are equal. Therefore, it cannot be a rhombus. So this shape, it is just a trapezoid, a quadrilateral and a parallelogram. And it cannot be a square because it is neither a rhombus or a rectangle. And in order for it to be a square, it has to be both a rhombus and a rectangle. All right, this part, let's talk about true and false with these statements. Okay. All trapezoids are quadrilaterals. And you're gonna need this paper, this front part, to help you. Are all trapezoids quadrilaterals? So let's see. Here's a trapezoid. Everything going up, remember I told you about going up? So everything going up is a trapezoid. And yes, all trapezoids, in order for it to be a trapezoid, it has to be a quadrilateral. So this statement is true. All parallelograms are quadrilaterals. Well, let's see. In order for it to be a parallelogram, it has to be a quadrilateral. So if we're going up, there's the quadrilateral. So yes, that is a true statement. Let's look at the next one. All rhombuses have only one set of equal length sides. All right, let's look at the rhombus. The rhombus says that it's a parallelogram and that it has to have 4 congruent sides. So all sides have to be the same, not just one. So therefore, this is a false statement. Let's see, all rectangles are quadrilaterals. Look at the rectangle and it says that all rectangles have to be parallelograms. And they have to be quadrilateral. See, when you're going up, so for a rectangle, in order to be a rectangle, it has to be a parallelogram or quadrilateral. But this quadrilateral has to have 4 right angles and 2 pairs of perpendicular sides. So all rectangles are quadrilaterals, and that is true. All right, for the next part of this activity, here, it says match each shape to the properties it must always have. So we're always, not sometimes, always. Let's see. Does a quadrilateral always have 4 sides? Yes, a quadrilateral always has 4 sides. So you would circle A, and A would be one that you click in your Google Classroom. Does a quadrilateral always have 4 right angles? Well, let's see. A quadrilateral could sometimes have 4 right angles, because remember, if it's a quadrilateral is a trapezoid also, but trapezoids do not need to have 4 right angles. A parallelogram does not need to have 4 right angles. A rhombus does not need to have 4 right angles. Only a rectangle and a square. So, do quadrilaterals always, because remember it said always, have 4 right angles? No. A quadrilateral sometimes has 4 right angles. So this would not be correct. They're asking for always. This is only sometimes. Does a quadrilateral have all equal sides? So let's see. A quadrilateral only has 4 sides. If a quadrilateral is also a parallelogram, and it says that only opposite sides have to be congruent. It says that here, only 1 pair of parallel sides, nothing about equal sides. Only a rhombus has to have all equal sides. So a quadrilateral could have all equal sides, but does it always have to have equal sides? No. So that's not correct either. In order to be a quadrilateral, does it always have 1 pair of parallel sides? Well, let's see. A quadrilateral, does it always have 1 pair? Well, if it was a trapezoid, yes. But if it was a parallelogram, no. Parallelogram has to have 2 sets. Rectangles have to have 2 sets. Rhombus have to have 2 sets, and square. So a quadrilateral can sometimes have 1 pair of parallel sides, but not always. So I would not circle that one. How about, does a quadrilateral have 4 acute angles? A quadrilateral can have 4 right angles or 4 acute angles if it's a trapezoid. So no, it's not always, sometimes. So we only pick A for the quadrilateral. For the trapezoid, does a trapezoid always have 4 sides? Well, we know that a trapezoid has to be a quadrilateral, and we know that a quadrilateral is 4 sides. So yes. Does a trapezoid always have to have 4 right angles? No, they does not always have it, so that's not correct. Does a trapezoid have all equal sides? Trapezoid, quadrilateral, just 1 pair of parallel sides? No. Does a trapezoid have 1 pair of parallel sides? Exactly, 1 pair of parallel sides. In order to be a trapezoid, it has to have 1 pair. So we circle that one. And does a trapezoid always have acute angles? And that is not correct. It can sometimes, a trapezoid can sometimes have 4 acute angles. So for example, here, this is a trapezoid. It has 1 acute angle here, 1 obtuse, and 2 right. So this one is a trapezoid, and it does not have 4 acute always. but sometimes it can. So it would only be AFI. All right. Independent time. Independent time. It's time for independent. You're doing the same thing. You're going to, and it's not just gonna be one, make sure you click as many as you can to identify. The arrows show if it is parallel, the sides. Look at the angles. You know that this means right angle. The ticks mean they're all the same sides. So I can write here, and we've done this already. This means parallel. The ticks means the sides. And then we know that this means right angle. And then the same thing here. So look for each side. Another true and false for independent, read it carefully. All squares have one set of parallel sides. Make sure that you're looking at this. This is a nice little picture to show quadrilaterals. Notice how trapezoid is by itself here, parallelogram is both of these, and then a square is everything. So a square is a rhombus, a square is a rectangle, a square is a parallelogram, a square is a quadrilateral. A square is not a trapezoid. So you're going up. A rectangle is a parallelogram, a rectangle is a quadrilateral. See how you're going up? A rhombus is a parallelogram, a rhombus is also quadrilateral. A rhombus is not a trapezoid. A square is not a trapezoid. A rectangle is not a trapezoid. A rectangle is not a rhombus. Okay? Thank you. And then, the best part. Homework time. Homework time. Your homework is very similar. Homework time. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my videos.